The average 60-year-old man has about 23 years left to live. That's it. If you've reached age 60, you've got roughly a quarter of your life remaining. I don't say that to scare you, I say it because it's the clearest reminder I know that time, not money, is the real currency in retirement. And that's why in this video, I'm going to talk about why retiring at age 60 with 500,000 can feel richer than retiring at age 70 with 1 million. In my experience with early retirees, one thing stands out. Most people work far longer than they need to. They keep saving money they'll never spend, and they don't even realize it. And there's one clear signal that tells me every time when someone has crossed the line and when it's time to stop working. In this video, I'll show you what that signal is and how to know if you're already past the point where work is costing you more life than it's buying. By the way, I'm Rachel Camp. I am a CFP professional and the founder of Camp Wealth. My firm focuses exclusively on early retirement so that you can get to living the life you want as quickly as possible. Now, before we jump in, there is something you should understand. This is the lie that derails more near retirees than any market downturn or tax change. It's the reason people keep working through their healthiest years long after they could have walked away. Let's look at a hypothetical client example here. I'll call her Linda. Linda is 70 years old with $1 million, the magic number she had chased her entire career. She told herself once she hit it, the $1 million mark, she'd finally feel ready. But when she did not feel free. She actually felt late. That's because Linda fell into what I call the more is always better trap. She kept staring at a single dot on a map labeled 1 million, thinking that that's where happiness lived. But retirement isn't a map, it's more like a compass. It's not about hitting a point, it's about moving in the right general direction. The compass is going to ask different questions of you. Are you moving toward the life you actually want? Or are you trading time and health for security you might already have? Linda was busy chasing a coordinate instead of checking her direction, and that's why she arrived but did not feel safe or at home. Because retirement isn't only a number you hit, it's a balance you design between time, health, energy, relationships, and money all working together. Linda was measuring her wealth in dollars, but the happiest retirees use a completely different formula. And this is what we will call the real wealth equation. Now, let's look at our second example client here, Tom. Tom is 6 years old and has about $500,000 saved, half of what Linda has. But here's what's fascinating. When we applied the real wealth equation, Tom's plan didn't just work, it actually looked stronger on the overall retirement picture. So the real wealth equation we have here is health times time times financial freedom. Now, this looks simple, but there's a reason I use multiplication here instead of addition. If any of these variables drop to zero, your health, your time, or your financial freedom, your real wealth collapses. And while this is really more of an abstract equation than a perfectly usable formula, you can see that real wealth should include all three. And if you're looking for the optimal real wealth, it requires a balance of all three of these variables. A low number on any one variable likely collapses the equation. For example, Linda scores low in real wealth equation because while she has 100% on financial freedom, her real wealth is dragged down by the other two variables, that's time and health, or number of healthy years left. On the other hand, Tom scores lower than Linda on the financial freedom variable, maybe a 60% rather than a 100%, but much higher on the health and time variables, which makes his overall real wealth higher. The financial freedom variable is a skill you can think of from zero being you can't retire because you don't have enough to cover fixed expenses, all the way up to 100% where you are able not only to cover your fixed expenses, but also all of your discretionary expenses as well. This is the big trade-off with retirement, and we're going to talk more about the financial side in a minute. The key takeaway here is that Tom didn't win because he had more money. He won because he had more usable years. Tom could still hike, he can still travel, he can still wake up excited instead of recovering. He was living wealth, not just preserving it. Tom could not afford to travel at the level Linda could, for sure. That is his trade-off. But the irony is Linda also can't travel in the way that Tom can, because Tom wins on the health factor. So don't continue to work and save up money for a trip that your health can't afford to take. Now, at this point, most people watching are probably thinking, how can somebody possibly retire at age 60 with only $500,000 and feel richer than somebody with twice that? First, I would say, have you ever been to the Midwest? But the answer really is that Tom didn't just change his finances, he changed his framework. So Tom stopped asking, how much do I need? And started asking, how much does it really cost to live well? And when we walked through Tom's spending, the number shocked him, not because it was high, but because it was much lower than he'd ever allowed himself to believe. Tom's old budget, which was $80,000 per year, included a larger house than he needed and financial assistance with his children. With both of these decisions, Tom thought about trade-offs. Was his current home, which still had a mortgage on it that he would be paying off for at least another decade, really increasing his happiness? Or could he be happier somewhere with a lower cost of living and a smaller home? With his children, the financial assistance was coming to a natural end. They were now all graduated from college, which was the financial assistance Tom had pledged, and at this point, he felt confident they could all be financially independent. Tom was actually eager to get back to the Midwest where he was from. He had moved to a higher cost of living city for a job, but had no intention of retiring there. So he made a plan to use the equity in his home to purchase a new home in the Midwest, which meant completely eliminating his mortgage. His property tax and home insurance would also be much lower. He also planned to use a portion of the equity to purchase a conversion van to travel to national parks. Really, he realized his old budget was built for a life he didn't even want anymore, or a life that he had outgrown at this point. As a result, he landed on a new budget of $44,000 a year. This lower income dropped so much he qualified for generous healthcare subsidies as well. Now, while his portfolio is able to support this new budget, Tom also has a plan B just in case, and I'm seeing this with so many retirees, and that's the ability to earn some part-time income. Tom had reevaluated his budget, realizing that he was comfortable with traveling at a lower budget level, but just in case he wanted a nicer trip or to go out to eat more, he had this plan B with part-time income. Tom had always done a little bit of consulting on the side, and he mentions that if he wants to spend more in any particular year, he's able to work just enough for it. So he estimates around $12,000 a year, just $1,000 a month, that he could make with part-time consulting. Now, the most powerful change Tom experienced wasn't financial at all. It was actually psychological, because there's a point where work stops giving you returns, not financially, but emotionally. And that brings us to what I call the diminishing return on work. After the finances are taken care of, this is the strongest and clearest signal I see that someone is ready to retire. I see this over and over again with people like Tom, great workers who once loved what they did, but there comes a moment when every extra year of work returns less joy, less meaning, and less growth. The meetings feel longer, the wins feel smaller, the ladder you've been climbing starts to feel like it's leaning against the completely wrong wall, and that's not laziness, that's evolution. It's a quiet realization that you're ready for your next act. So whether you're like Linda, chasing a number, or like Tom, ready for something new, the real question isn't, do I have enough? It's, what am I giving up by waiting? Because wealth isn't what you die with, it's what you get to experience while you're still healthy enough to enjoy it. If you'd like to explore what your version of this could look like, click the link below to schedule a retirement readiness call. I'll see you in the next one.